will take time. Okay, everyone, billionaires out there, this is Growth Factory once again, and I'm your host. I am Dele Ayobakole, your billionaire coach, right? And you know what it is. Our vision here at the Growth Factory is to raise 1,000 African billionaires by 2035. That's the vision we're running with. It's so amazing, right? And how do we do that? To catalyze a new generation of visionary African entrepreneurs building 1,000 billionaires by 2035 through strategic education, structural support, and scalable ecosystems. And like I always say, we're laying the foundation. This is our first year. We want to ensure that our people have the strategic education they need to be able to build that kind of wealth, build billions, ecosystem. So we also have the structured support, which we are evolving, and then scalable ecosystems. And how we're going to achieve all of that is to equip SMEs and emerging entrepreneurs with transformative knowledge, strategic tools, growth capital, and a supportive community that enables them to build sustainable, globally competitive businesses. Because for you to begin to operate in the realms of billions, then you need to be able to position your product or your service to be sustainable and to be globally competitive. So if you are here at the Growth Factory, either you're here live or you're catching the replay, you are in the right place right now. Good. So we have been looking for the past 5 weeks, we've been looking at the order framework. We're starting a new year, and everyone needs to understand that, see, growth operates on the principle of order. Growth operates on the principle of order. And how do I mean? If you cannot put order around your life, put order around your business, put order around everything you do, I can guarantee you that even if you have any form of progress, any form of success, it will be short-lived. Why? Because sustainable growth operates on the principle of order. You must put things in place, right? And we're able to break this down, and we've covered it for the past 4 weeks. Today is the 5th week. We said the first thing in order is that you have to be clear about your objective as a person. What exactly are you trying to achieve? Then check your readiness. Are you ready for what is happening? Because there's going to be a lot of shaking. So if your mind is not ready and your system is not ready for what you are expecting, then you are just playing. You are not ready. You are not set. You are not ready for the shift. So we looked at readiness, and then we looked at direction. Now that you're ready, which path are you going to follow? How are you going to get there? What are the things you need to start doing, the things you need to stop doing, they need to double up on? So we looked at all of that. We created the direction in week 3. Then in week 4, we talked about execution. What are the things you need to do? Because really, no matter how beautiful your plan is, without execution, it remains nothing but words on paper. Like the saying goes, the person who knows how to read but does not read, and the person who cannot read, they are both the same. So if you have a very beautiful plan without execution, and there is another person without a plan, without any execution, you guys are the same. Directionless. You're just facing anywhere you go. Now, after looking at execution, we said real growth rests on the principle of review. You must come back to review what you are doing to be sure that you are actually on track. So we'll be talking about the principle of review today. And remember, the overarching principle about order is that if everything matters to you, then execution collapses. You cannot do everything. You need to understand that deeply. That's why order is very important. You cannot do everything. If you try to do everything, execution will collapse, because your energy will be scattered in many directions. And what it means is that you can't get anything meaningful done. So once again, I welcome you to the boardroom, right? So please subscribe to our YouTube channel if you have not done that. We had a goal of having 100 subscribers in January. We hit 84. That's 84%. Not bad, right? For a new channel. So for Q1, we're thinking, well, I think we should be able to double that at least minimum. So at least between now and March, we should have about 200 subscribers, 250 subscribers. That keeps us going. I know there will come a time in the course of the year where the momentum will pick up and then we'll have a lot more subscribers. So as we're just doing the bit we're doing right now, I want to encourage you, subscribe, share with your friends, share with your community, encourage them to subscribe. If this is valuable to you, then it's going to be valuable to your community as well. All right. So again, this is the solution. I've talked about this, so let we just move on. So this is our flow for today. We've talked about order, the new growth. So today we're looking at the power of review, execution scorecard, identifying leaks and levers, optimization, and next level adjustments, core concepts to emphasize, then common blocks that block people, from being able to do effective reviews. And then after that, we just close out. So today is going to be very short, very straightforward, because really we've done all the work in the past weeks. So my encouragement to you is to catch up. So there is already a playlist for this framework, the other framework. There's a playlist for it. So just click the playlist and take your pen and just go. You just go back to class 1 week at a time. There are a lot of things you're going to unpack. By the time you're done, you can never be the same person. Trust me. By the time you're done, your capacity to think, to put structure into your business is going to go to another level altogether. So trust me on that. So let's go. What should we expect today? You will, at the end of our conversation today, you'll be able to objectively evaluate your execution results, identify success drivers and execution leaks, refine your goals, systems, and priorities, build a personal or business review rhythm, and commit to a sustainable growth loop. So at the end of our conversation today, these are the things that you should be able to do, right? Objectively evaluate your execution results, identify success drivers and execution leaks. You'll be able to refine your goals, your systems, and your priorities. You're able to build a personal or business review rhythm, and you'll be able to commit to a sustainable growth loop, right? So let's go. How many of us are on the call last week? Okay, for now, interestingly, the people on the call today were not on the call last week, so it's fine. It would have been easy for me to ask what you did, right? So, but so the big question is, if you followed week 4, we talked about execution. So, what did you execute last week? What felt easy? What felt uncomfortable? What felt like, oh, if I had known, I shouldn't have done this, right? But what really worked? These are conversations that you and your team should have. And one of the things I always like to say that, at the end of all these conversations, it's important as a person that you go back to your team and, have these conversations with the people that work with you. Like, okay, guys, these are the things that I think, what do you think, right? How can we make it better? The essence of having knowledge is not for you to be above the people you lead. The essence of having knowledge is to bring them to your level. And how do you bring them to your level? You study, you learn, and then you have a conversation. So in the process of everybody giving their bits, trying to understand what you now know, you bring them to your level. What that does to your business is that they will now be able to deliver at that level. So they don't necessarily have to be in the same class with you. They don't necessarily have to study the same things that you study, but if you have conversations that breaks down what you have learned and you are asking them, what do you guys think about it? How can we implement this? Then you bring your team up to your level and they can up their game. Once they up their game, then it means that the entire organization is up. Like one of my mentors will say, when you raise the foundation, you also raise the roof. Once you raise the standard, you also raise the output. That is what automatically happens, right? So have this conversation with your guys and let me know what you have, right? So now this is it. One of the things we also need to remind ourselves, today is that evaluation is not criticism. One of the reasons many times people don't do evaluation is that many of us see evaluation as criticism because when it looks like something is not working, we feel like, oh, maybe it's because you didn't do well. And of course, we also live in a part of the world where it looks like it is a lot easier to condemn people. So people have been so used to condemnation that every attempt at evaluating what they do is seen as an attack on their person. So people take evaluations personally. I've seen it a lot in organizations. When you want to do performance review, it's always a fight. Performance review is always a fight between superiors and their subordinates. Everybody is feeling like, why is he reviewing me? No, why did he review me like this? Why did he review me like that? Why? Because it is seen as somebody is casting no confidence on your person. But performance review itself is not an aspersion on your person. It is for us to see that we need to evaluate. So it is not condemnation, it is meant to be calibration. So execution without evaluation leads to exhaustion, not growth. If you keep doing everything, you keep doing it, you keep doing it, you keep doing it. Imagine that you are running an advert on social media, for example, and you keep running and running and running and running and running, and you are not asking yourself, this money we are expending, how is it turning to conversions for us? How are we having customers as a result of this advert? If you don't pay attention to it, what happens is that you will just exhaust your funds and you will make no sales. That's the truth. You will exhaust your funds, you make no sales. At the class last week, one of the participants shared that for them, when they run an advert for 24 hours, they pause the advert and then they review what is working, what is not working. You keep tweaking it. You keep tweaking it. Because if you run 24 hours, you don't make any sale. There is no guarantee that the next 24 hours you will make a sale, right? Because it is the same advert. So you need to tweak it. What is working and what is not working. And that is very critical. So execution without evaluation leads to exhaustion, not growth. It leads to exhaustion, not growth. So we need to pay attention. And that is why review is very critical. Review is very important. Review is very important, right? Review is the hidden advantage of high performance. Review is the hidden advantage of high performance. Somebody said that feedback is the food of champions. Feedback is the food of champions. If you're going to be a champion, you're going to work really hard and be the best at what you do, you must value feedback. Think about it. Why do you think high performance players hire high performance coaches? Think about it. High performance players hire high performance coaches. It's very simple because you will never be able to see your own lapses. It takes somebody who is at their peak. So when you are coaching somebody who is at the peak of his career, you must also be at the peak of your career as a coach. Number one, to be able to spot what the person is not doing right, the areas of improvement, and to be able to communicate it in a way that the person can appreciate what you are telling them. So sometimes if you follow football, you realize that some coaches cannot control the dressing room. The dressing room is, well, before they go out, they meet in the dressing room, and then the coach gives them a pep talk, and then they come back first half, the coach gives them a pep talk. So it has been proven that coaches who cannot control the players, who cannot hold their ground, before they get to the pitch, that coach has lost the team. If you cannot control that conversation in the dressing room, you have lost the team. It's a matter of time before they sack that coach. This was what happened to this Real Madrid coach. What's his name again? That they just sacked now. Xavi Alonso, right? So it happened to him. Why? Because one of the things they said was that he couldn't control the dressing room. The players in coach looks too big for him to manage, right? So the quality of the coach then determines the quality of the player. So execution without evaluation leads to exhaustion, not growth. You are doing a lot, but you are not making progress. So when people say, oh, I feel stuck, I feel like my life is not moving, the question is, are you evaluating yourself? And number two, are you paying attention? Are you taking correction? Because see, I work with a lot of people, and sometimes I laugh because, of course, it's something I do for myself too, right? So sometimes I laugh because you're trying to help somebody. The person can see obviously that this is a weakness, but then after all the conversation and emotional breakdown, they still go ahead and keep doing the same thing they've always done before the session. This person is not ready. I remember I bought a book many years ago. I'm trying to remember the title of the book now. Is it 42 Days to Feeling Great? I'm trying to remember the name of the author. 42 Days to Feeling Great. So the argument is that when you do something consistently for 6 weeks, that it becomes a part of you. And then the man said, of course, a psychologist. So the man said that there are 3 questions that you must be able to answer if you truly want change. The first question is, what exactly is happening? What exactly is happening, right? What exactly is happening? Second one is, how do you feel about it? And then the third one, he said, do you want to change? He said, those are 3 questions you ask a client. What exactly is happening? If you cannot identify what is happening, you cannot change it. So what a coach would help you to do actually is to help you identify what exactly is happening to you. Then the question is, how do you feel about it? If your feelings, if you cannot, if the thought of what is going on does not break you, it cannot make you. That brokenness, like I've had enough, until you get to the end of the rope, you will never know when to take a bend, right? So, how do you feel about it? The third one, do you really want to change? Now, that book is a very old book. I'm even surprised that I can still remember the book. Now, the title of the book is 42 Days to Feeling Great. Very powerful book, right? So, execution without evaluation leads to exhaustion, not growth. It leads to exhaustion, not growth, right? So, what are your execution scorecard? What are the things you need to pay attention to by the time you are doing execution, right? So, let's talk about these 5 things, and maybe I'll just give us. I will have some questions, and then my typical way. I would really love our feedback, right, so that we can make it a bit interactive and it's just not me talking about your head, right? So the first one is when you're looking at your execution scorecard, how are you doing in your execution? The first one is you want to look at the actions you have taken since we started this series on order. What actions have you taken since this year began? What actions have you taken? So you want to look at it, because as you're executing, you want to review what you're doing. So what actions have you taken so far? You want to grow your business. You want to grow your platform. You want to double or triple or 10x or 100x what you did last year. What actions will get you the kind of results that you truly want? So pay attention to your actions. If you cannot monitor your actions, I bet you will not be able to achieve your results, because the input determines the output. Africa is a very funny place, especially in Nigeria. I know it's like that almost every part of Africa. You see people instead of doing what they are supposed to do, they would rather go to one spiritual house to go and pray, right? So, but as good as prayer is supposed to lead you to know exactly what you are supposed to do. If the essence of your prayer is to remain on a mountain in quotes, I'm telling you, you're going to achieve nothing, because you need to do things physically here on earth to have physical results. So in the spirit, you may have a lot of things, a lot of results in the spirit, but physically, you're going to have nothing except you act on it. Then number two is the consistency level that is required for that action. There are some things you need to do consistently. One of the things you know is that every week we gather here at the Growth Factory. Sometimes it is not convenient. I can tell you for free, it is not, because you have a lot to do, you know. And for me, Monday is supposed to be my rest day, right? It's my Sabbath, right? So, but I must show up. That's what it means, because it's the day we have agreed we're going to, show up every Monday. Let's look at what we're going to do. So it set the pace for the rest of the week. So what is the consistency level required? And you want to ask yourself, are you consistent? Are you consistent? Are you giving it what it takes? You know, if you look at this guy that has been traveling all over the world now, I show speed. This guy has been really, really amazing. He started his channel in 2021, just at the wake of, of COVID. And this guy has been amazingly consistent, streaming almost all the time, and boom, now the guy is everywhere. Consistency is very critical. Consistency is very paramount. You have to be consistent. Then number three is what are the results that you expect? What are the results that you expect? So you move from you move from your actions to consistency to results achieved. What have you achieved? What has that result achieved for you as a person? What has it achieved for you? So you need to pay attention to the results. So if you keep monitoring the result and you're not getting the result that you want, then you need to then you go back and review the action. Because if you do the right thing, you will have the right results. So if what you are doing is not the right thing, then the result you have is what is commensurate with what your action deserves. Your result is commensurate with what your action deserves. What your action deserves. So you want to go back and review the action. Then the fourth thing in talking about your execution scorecard is the amount of energy that this thing is costing you. And that's talking about resources. The energy costs. What is this thing costing you? There are some of us, you're trying to do something. I was sharing somewhere yesterday. I said that we must learn to cut off any activity that does not directly impact the results that we desire. We must be deliberate. Now, sometimes as a business person, something tells you, oh, I don't have the money to hire. I don't have the money, let me just do my thing. But guess what? You are killing your productivity. Experience has shown, is something I have experienced personally, right? That when you delegate your non-productive activities or your non-core activities, some activities are not core to you as the owner of the business. When you delegate it, then it gives you enough room to do more of your core activities. When you do more of your core activities, then you produce more results. So you multiply your result either by times 3 or times 4, such that you would effortlessly pay that person who takes off the chunk of the work that drains you. You effortlessly pay them without even feeling it. Why? Because you are focused on you are focused your energy on the actions that are important. So everything you are doing is costing you energy. It's costing you resources. It's costing you money, it's costing you time, it's costing you energy, physical energy, mental energy, spiritual energy. It's costing you something. So remember, we talk about opportunity cost in economics, right? So what is this thing costing you compared to the result that it is giving you? If the cost outweighs the income, then what should you do? It means you want to review it and ask yourself, should I keep doing this? And of course, the end of it, the hallmark of all of these things we have talked about is how much does it come down to in terms of money and impact. Sometimes what you do may not give you immediate funds, but can you measure the impact? How many lives were transformed? How many people came to say, oh, by reason of what you did or of what you said, by of your event, this is what has happened to me. Impact. Can you measure the impact? Can you measure the revenue? How much came in as a result of all of these activities? Because that's what it boils down to, right? So you're looking at your results, you are also looking at the revenue. The result could be so many things. You could have, we talked in execution, we talked about the things you should measure, right? Now we're saying, how does that, boil down? What does it boil down to in terms of revenue? So those are things that you also should pay attention to. They're very critical in you achieving your goals, right? So when you talk about the next level, so one of the things that we must be able to understand is that we must be able to turn insight into adjustment. So growth improves by refinement, not reinvention. Sometimes we think we have to start something all over. We have to do something we have never done before. But most times, if you pay attention to these five things I just mentioned, just tweak it a little here and there, and I can guarantee you'll be shocked, how far you have come, right? So, before we go on, let's take some feedback. I like it a lot when we talk, right? So maybe let's go back to this last point we discussed, right? So, so this is February, right? So let's look at your January. I know it's possible you don't have the data with you, but let's just talk hypothetically, right? So let's do a bit of review. What worked for you in January? What didn't work? What do you think you should do better as we step into February, right? I hope the question is simple enough. Your actions, your level of consistency, the results that your performance indicators, the energy cost to you, and your revenue, right? So what worked in January? What didn't work? What do you think you should do better? Let's share for the next 3 to 4 minutes, right? So who is going to share with us? Please, no holds barred. Just be free, right? Just be free, right? So, who wants to share? Mrs. Bukola, Stephen, Uche, who wants to share with us what worked in January? What didn't work? What do you think you could do better as we go on in February? Who would love to share with us? Hello, hello. Okay, Uche, please go ahead. Thank you for bailing me out. You're muted. Oh, I thought you raised your hand.
Yes. All right. Okay. Yes, I've unmuted. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Please go ahead.
Yes, I did. I just lowered it now that I wanted to talk. Can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hello?
We can hear you,
Oh, all
Uche,
right.
loud and
Good
clear.
evening, Pastor, and good evening, everyone. Okay, yeah, thank you so much. This is the very first class I'm joining of the boardroom. Yeah, I'm actually speaking. I hope you can hear me clearly.
Yes, we can. Please go ahead.
Oh, right, fantastic. Thank you, sir. So I was saying that this is the very first live session that I'm joining of the boardroom of the Growth
Wow.
Factory. Yeah, all right.
Mhm.
So and so far it's been wonderful. I've been able to listen to a few of the videos on YouTube, and to be very candid, uh, just looking at the questions that we were made to ask ourselves based on what you just asked so far, what happened in January, consistency level that okay, no, so the actual actions that I took in January, the consistency level for me, the results and all that. So what I would just say, the my actions in January were not very clear. It wasn't very clear as to what I really wanted to do as per my objective. Just when I came on the call, I heard you talking about the past editions of episodes that you had done about order, and order being very important to our growth, to our improvement. So I've actually made up my mind to do is to go and continue watching on the other videos that I've not seen before now, and just catch up on all that has been discussed. But personally, at least before I joined this platform, this group, I think one of the loopholes for me is that my objectives were not quite clear as to what I really wanted to achieve. So I went on to do the things that I did. Like, okay, one of the things I wanted to do was to make sure that my business, my brand gained more visibility, because of course, the more people get to know me, the more they want to engage me in my business and all that, right? And which I did. So I went on to post, but I wasn't quite consistent. And looking at it very objectively from that book that you talked about, to say, okay, so where are you now? And then what are you doing differently and all that, So I just looked at it very objectively, and I said to myself that one of the reasons I couldn't really meet the goal that was set for January was because there was no particular system, like a very strong structured system that I was working with that could help to achieve my aim of becoming a lot more visible. So, but just listening to all that you have said now, I'm definitely going to go back to my drawing board, get clear on what I really want to achieve. That's the action that I need to take, and then, up my level. So, of course, by this time, I've already started working on a structure that would help achieve that goal, which is something that is very, very key, very, very important. I love how you said that. See, with any system at all, without a proper structure, will not stand. Very key, really, for me. That's what I'm going home. I'm going back to the drawing board with. And then, so what is it costing me? Of definitely, because I didn't get like enough. I didn't get enough visibility like I really wanted. I didn't get I didn't get paid. I didn't get money as I really would want to, because of course the people that I would have loved to see what I do and patronize me haven't yet seen me, right? To patronize me. Only just the people who already know me. And of course, the people who already know me, I'm not sure would pay me the kind of money that I am hoping to get. So in this month and going forward, I'm going to sit down very clearly with my objectives. Like I said, I'm going to have to listen to the other videos. I'm going to do like, binge listening, sit down and listen to them very intently, and take out all the um, do all the exercises that are required, and just make sure that I part very well straightened out. And then I trust that as I do that, like you have guaranteed, and I also sense it, um, my the success that I desire will start to show forth. So that's my own contribution. Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing your story, right? So very
I
powerful.
hope it,
Yeah, very powerful. We need to be able to track what needs to be done. We must be able to track it. If you can't track the actions and the expected results, your KPIs, how do you know that you are actually on track? So the results you are tracking will help you to see if you are really on track. So for someone who wants to gain visibility, then one of your probably the results you will track is how many subscribers do you have? How many followers do you have? Then look at the engagement rate. Who is sharing? How many people are sharing your content, right? how many people are sharing it, how many people are, you know, it's very critical. How many people are sharing, how many people are commenting, how many people are liking, so those are some KPIs you definitely want to pay attention to, and of course, the main KPI is who is inviting you, to their circle, right? So you will also know if what you're doing is making sense by the time you start getting into some circles, like, oh, okay, 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 that this person is now calling you, that person is now calling you, so you know that yes, you start breaking into some circles. So if you are not breaking into some circles, then you are not visible. Nobody knows you, right? So those are some results you want to track. And of course, at the end of the day, what's the revenue and how much impact are you making, right? Do we have any other person who wants to share with us? Let's review your January together, if you don't mind. This is a boardroom, so you have free opportunity, to have boardroom level advice, right? Who else wants to share? Stephen, Miss Bookie, who else want to share? All right, good, 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 good. So let's go ahead. So we just call it a wrap. So I was saying something earlier that growth improves by refinement, not necessarily reinvention. Reinvention means that you're going to do something new altogether. Refinement means that you're just going to tweak what you are doing, right? Just tweak what you are doing. Refinements, like I was explaining the other time, could mean that you will stop doing some things altogether, right? So you look at your activities. For someone, let's still take Uche as an example. Today is your lucky day, right? So you want to gain visibility, right? Visibility has to do with the quality of your content, the message in your content, and then the quality of your production, right? The quality of your production, very important. Then the language of your presentation is also very important. So you must be able to speak a language that people can resonate with. The same message, but can they resonate with that message? You must be able to communicate it in a way that it resonates with your audience. And of course, the quality of your production, whether you're doing graphics, you're doing videos, the quality of your production. So the question is, can you create the quality of production that can give you that visibility, that engagement? If you don't have the skill, even if you have the skill, do you have the time? Will you be able to do the graphics, do the videos, and still be the one preparing the content, doing the content, shooting yourself? Do you have the skill to be able to do all of that excellently to the point where everyone that sees you the first time are glued to their screen and they say, I want to engage this person? Are you able to do that? So if you find yourself that you don't have that level of excellence, what it means is that you might be considering collaboration. So you have a message, there is a media person that you know, and then you guys say, oh, can we do some stuff together? You do the media part, I do the visibility part, and then we share our profit. So there must be something that so that helps you. So once you are able to establish that, boom, you just scale to another level. You become a totally different person altogether. So growth improves by refinement, not reinvention. You don't have to do anything new. In some situations, some circumstances, you may have to do something new. But we are just saying that rarely, right, do you have to start all together. If you can pay attention to what you're already doing, there may be something you can do better, or that you can delegate. So let me close with this, right? One of the reasons that stop many of us from being able to go ahead with the reviews with what we are trying to do is that we have some of these blocks, right? Which I call the blocks, the common participant. But the block one, I didn't do enough, right? Sometimes when we do review, and these are the reasons many of us don't like review actually, right? You feel you start condemning yourself like, oh, it's because I didn't do enough. Or if only I have done enough, maybe if I have done this thing, then I would have achieved the results. See, you can never really do enough. One of the things you need to learn is that you reframe every review session as a learning session, not a shame session. It's a learning session. So instead of seeing it as you didn't do enough, ask yourself, what did I learn? What can I do better? Like we just did now. There's no cause for alarm for you to be ashamed of anything. Like, oh, look at my life. No, it's a learning session. If you approach life as a learner, then it's easy for you to embrace the lessons that life would throw at you. But if you see it as a perfectionist, everything will get at you. You will personalize everything. And once you begin to personalize everything, you will just be getting angry for nothing. And once you get to that mode, you will not want to review again. Why? Because you feel like I said earlier, like somebody is casting a vote of no confidence on you, but you should be able to review yourself. So the block number two, results are slow. So when you look at, oh, results are slow, like for me, I wanted to have 100 subscribers by the end of January. I had 84. So I can say, oh, results are slow. This is not the kind of progress that I want. So when you get to that point, then you tell yourself, oh, maybe I should just chill. Maybe I shouldn't stress myself. But you know what? In execution, there's something we call lag effect. There's always that time, that period when it looks like everything is lagging. And it's usually at the beginning. So if you try to give up at that point, you realize that you would have given up on what you could have done, you could have achieved. It's like some of these old cars. I know that the new cars we do now, you can accelerate to 100 kilometers in 3 seconds. I once drove a car like that. Oh my God. One of my favorite cars, Audi Q7. Very powerful engine like that. Machine, rather, right? You step on the gas and in 3 seconds, the thing just jumps, boom. But most vehicles, especially if you are driving a bicycle, right? When you start slow and you begin to, it's like you're just trying to get yourself off the ground. But you get to a point that you just enter into some speed and the thing is just going vroom and you're just speeding, especially when you're driving manual. If you've ever driven with a manual car before, so you start you move with gear one and then you change gear two depending on the topography of the road. So you start slowly and it looks like the car is dragging, but you know what? If you stop at that point, you're not going to get anywhere. So you must understand the lag effect, that sometimes things will start slow before they pick up. There are some people who just enter into it and boom, they are everywhere. There are some other people you have to move slowly. So don't be too hard on yourself when it looks like things are slow. But just know that the time will come when it will be so rapid that you can't pick up. That you need to keep hiring people to help you match the inflow of inquiries you're making. Then the third one, the block three, people feel discouraged sometimes, right? You feel discouraged like, oh, this thing is not working. Why am I even doing it? But you know what? What you should do when you are feeling discouraged is to track your progress, not your perfection. Track your progress, not your perfection. If you track your progress, you will know that you are not the same person who started January 1. I'm telling you. If you track your progress, if indeed you have been working on your business, even if you are not having the kind of results you expect to have, if you are tracking your progress, you will know that you have grown, even if you don't have all those results we just outlined, right? So don't track perfection,